Hi. Oh, hi. I'm trying to record up here. It's a little windy. I might end up going downstairs. But welcome to just south of Charleston, South Carolina. We've been sitting here at an anchorage called Church for 2 days, waiting out winds. And I know this seems windy, but this is nothing. So today we're moving. We're going to go past Charleston and just north of Charleston. So I just wanted to show you what a day looks like on a cruising day. So let's get started. So one thing I want to do before we get underway today is do some prep for dinner. Now we are going through a section on the other side of the Charleston Harbor that's notoriously shallow. So because of that, we could have left at 5 this morning or about 12:30 today so that we go through there when it's not low tide. So that means I have some time this morning, and it also means that we'll get into our anchorage rather late. So I'm going to do some prep for dinner, so then dinner will be easy on the other side. And I've just got some romaine here that I washed. I'm just going to wrap that up in a flour sack towel and pop that in the refrigerator for when I need it. And then I also have 2 leftover chicken thighs. And so I'm going to pair that with obviously Caesar salad and also some spaghetti squash. Now, spaghetti squash is a great squash to have on board. I think I bought this spaghetti squash, I'm going to change knives, back in November, and they just store really well. Just, you know, a cool, dark place, the coolest, darkest place that you have, and they will last a really long time. And I'm going to cut this straight down the center, and I kind of like to just go in the center and then go out both sides. And then, obviously, we're going to scrape those seeds. Now, I keep these empty yogurt containers and that kind of thing because when we're out cruising like that, it can be a couple weeks before we can take the trash out. So anything that's going to get smelly or start to decay or anything like that, I put in these containers so they don't start to smell. So by doing this now means that an hour before you want dinner, I can pop this in the oven. So I'm just doing a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, rubbing it down, and then the rest of this, how I'm going to sauce the spaghetti squash, or season it if you will. It's kind of an experiment. I haven't done it before, so we're going to hope that it's going to turn out okay. But you know, I love that. I love experimenting. Sometimes it's good, sometimes not so good. I have this container of cherry tomatoes, so I'm going to dump those in a bowl, and to that I'm going to add several cloves of garlic. This is a big head of garlic, so these cloves are going to be quite large, and you can see that's a pretty good size head of, or clove of garlic. And I always cut those ends off because I think that they're bitter, and I want to pop those in there. And these are pretty big, so I'll probably do 3 of them. And then I have a shallot here, and I'm just going to peel this and leave it whole and in the bowl. Now this is all about kind of what do I have that needs to be used. And I made some Italian seasoning recently, and when I make these seasoning blends, I kind of think of ways to use them because, you know, just sitting, they're going to start to lose their potency. So I like to use them, and I can't say that I'm measuring here, but I'm going to say a couple teaspoons of my Italian seasoning. I might just finish it off, honestly. Well, I'm just going to finish it off. I'm going to do a good pinch of salt, some of my mixed pepper blend, some olive oil, and some nice balsamic vinegar. We're just going to do a twirl in there, probably a good teaspoon at least. And we're going to toss this. If I had to say if I put too much Italian seasoning, I would have to say yes. But we're going to be fine. So, I'm just going to let this sit in the bowl till I'm ready for it. I've got my squash here. It's perfectly fine to be sitting out at room temperature. This is going to be laid in the middle of here to roast when my squash roasts, and we're going to use this to make our sauce. So now, dinner's pretty much prepped. We've got our romaine for our salad. I do have some salad dressing already made and croutons made. I am going to remove the bone from these so that I can throw them in the oven and they'll heat up quicker when we need them. That I have prepped for dinner ready. I have chores that I kind of do in the pilot house. Billy kind of has his chores that he goes around and does, checking engine oil and all that kind of things, right, baby? And I told him he had to go out and secure our fenders because that wind really did a number on them. And it's still, I can't believe the wind sounds that we're hearing today. It was supposed to be calm. It's been 2 days of just wind. So as soon as I get my bone out of my chicken here, then I'll go up to the pallet house and do the things that I like to do up there to get ready for our cruise. One of the things I do before a cruise is my little cruise book here, and I'll write down the date, what anchorage we're going to, where we're going to, how many miles it is. I record the port, engine, hours, starboard, and the generator, and make any notes from the anchorage that we're leaving. And I, trust me, wrote down the 2 days of nonstop wind that we had, storms. And I can also look back onto the anchorage that we're going to, and it lets me know what feet of water we dropped in during that tide, how much how much chain we put out, how much line we put. What are you supposed to say, line or chain, baby? Are you ignoring me?
Well, you can say line or chain.
You can say line or chain. I think sometimes I talk and he doesn't know I'm talking to him. So I like to get all of that recorded. So this is kind of my place where I like to cruise. I like to stand here. Billy sits in his captain's chair. I like to stand here. We've got the Simrad with the Navionics, and then I've got my iPad with my aqua maps that I like to follow. We kind of use both of those. So to set us up here, I just make sure we've got our binoculars. I'm going to get us some beverages, and we like to fire up the engines about at least 15 minutes before we start to head out, just to let them warm them up. And then comes bringing up the anchor. So we're getting close to going. We're getting ready to fire up the engines. I'm going to have us some nice beverages for our cruise. And I think I'll do pineapple for Billy. I think I'm going to do cranberry today. And then I'm going to add a shot of pineapple skin water. And some club soda. Engines turned on. So bringing up the anchor on my nifty little stool to stand on. Billy's out that way, and he's giving me hand signals for how he wants me to move the boat. And that's why I like to stand up here so I can see. We did so much swinging in the winds we had the last couple days. Easily 35, 40 mile an hour winds. I think we're going to be muddy. He's telling me to turn the deck wash on, so I have a feeling our anchor is going to be muddy. I'm okay with the muddy anchor. She holds us in rough weather. She can be all the muddy she wants.
That's funny.
You going to fix it downstairs?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do it twice.
So sometimes we have that much chain out. I think we had 100 and probably 30, 40 feet.
Jack Lopez, channel 16.
She doesn't, the anchor, he's got to kind of help direct her back into her little locker up there. Otherwise it just piles up in one pile. So we're just going to sit here for a minute and let him do that, and then we'll be back.
So muddy.
So here's the start. We have left the anchorage. We're moving back onto the ICW, and we have about 29 miles to go today. So this is a little bit of our sights today before we hit the Charleston harbor. Oh, it's a little bit windy, but a beautiful day. Say hello. I just think stick your tongue out. So we're getting ready to enter what is called Elliott's Cut, and we're going to run it from the south heading north, and it will drop us out into the Charleston harbor. But it is such a pretty little passage that I just wanted to make sure I shared it with you. So this is kind of my view, and up here next to Billy's view. But it is so pretty coming down through here. Look at these trees over here. Get you a good picture. See if you can see all the Spanish moss waving to us. So I want you to have a look at that sailboat. What, baby? 120, 30 feet? Look at that big sailboat. There's a, I don't know if you can see it, there's a big, huge black one over there too. And then over there, way in the distance, is the Yorktown. We went through her, the last time we came through Charleston. And there is Fort Sumter. You can see the passenger ferry leaving. You can only get to Fort Sumter by boat. There's Billy out there doing a video for our Still Away page. He's doing a live video. On the other side of him is Fort Sumter. I just thought this was a pretty picture of the bridge here. And of course, on the other side of it out there is the Atlantic Ocean. So we're leaving the harbor and going up here, and we're getting back into the ICW. Hiya. So we are a mile from our anchor spot, and we're going to anchor about 5:30. So I got my oven on 375, and we're going to pop this in the oven, and that way we can eat about 6:30. And I'm just going to kind of lay everything out nice and flat here. And into the oven we go. So as we approach where we're going to anchor, I usually take the job of going out and getting the anchor chain off and getting the anchor ready. And Billy finds us the perfect anchor spot. Right, baby?
Sometimes. Not very often, trust me. I
Yes.
make more mistakes than I do anything else.
That's not true.
It is.
Luckily, he has me, and I always say, no, this isn't good. We have to move.
That's true.
That's true. But we had a good day. We got on the other side of Charleston, which is nice. We're kind of on this mission to make it to Beaufort, North Carolina by a certain date. And we've had the generator went, and we've had wind, so we're kind of pushing now. So we're really happy to be on the other side of Charleston. There's a sailboat coming right at us. I think we got to give him a wide berth. Maybe he's starting to turn now. So it's been 45 minutes, and I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to turn my oven up to about 400. Now, this is what I'm going to do. Again, I'm just kind of winging this, making this up with kind of things I had. I just wanted to use them. So the tomatoes, the garlic, and that shallot. See how soft that shallot got. And he might go back in there. I'm going to put in this bowl. Come on. One more. I'm trying not to sit things where they're in your way. Let's see how soft this shallot is. Oh yeah, he's nice and roasted. So we'll pop him back in our bowl. And then that chicken breast that I had, or chicken thighs, I'm sorry. The leftover roasted chicken thighs, I'm going to pop those in the middle. And then pop this back in the oven for 15 minutes. And now for this. I am going to take my immersion blender and just go to town here. So you see how I've kind of made a tomato sauce here. And then I'm going to put a half a stick of, or a half a, I guess it's not a stick, a half a thing of Boursin cheese. Put this back in the refrigerator for something else, for another time. And we'll roll away again. So let's taste it and see what we think. Delicious. Need some salt. I think I need some salt and a little balsamic, actually. Let me get some balsamic. Almost lost that. So I'm going to add, I'm thinking that I'm going to add about a teaspoon of balsamic. Now, if you haven't guessed it, the spaghetti squash, this is the sauce for the spaghetti squash. Pinch of salt, and I think we're going to be perfect. It's really good. Cherry tomatoes. That's just how easy it is to make a sauce with them. Some Italian seasoning, a little balsamic, a little olive oil, roast them, and just mix them right up, and you have a really easy tomato sauce. So we're going to set that aside. I'll go ahead and get my salad ready. Everything ready for our Caesar. I washed that romaine this morning, and it's been sitting in the refrigerator drying. So into our bowl. So that's what's so nice about doing this prep before we left this morning is now it's so easy to throw together once we're on anchor. So of course for our, oh here it is, Caesar, we want some Parmesan cheese. I like to salt and pepper. Oh, there's my pepper. And then this might finish off our Caesar dressing, I think. Give that a toss. Now, I like a lot of dressing on my salads. I think Billy does too. I think we both do. Billy actually made me a salad on our first date. He's got earphones and he can't hear me. He teases everybody, but I threw it overboard. All right, and some croutons. I'm going to go ahead and pull these spaghetti squash out. Pop that chicken back in. Just let it, make sure it gets nice and hot. Now the hard part is these little suckers are hot, so I'm going to just give it a minute to sit here and get its act together. So I'm thinking that this might be too much sauce for this spaghetti squash. It was a kind of a small spaghetti squash. So I think I'm going to take some out. I can always put this in the refrigerator and save it for something else, some pasta, some other vegetables or something. So pop it in the freezer and pull it out if you need it. And then I'm going to shred all of this spaghetti squash into the sauce. Hot. Try not to drop yours. Good things happen, right? Doesn't that look delicious? Isn't that going to be good with that tomato? All right, so here we go. Dinner is ready. So I'm going to toss this in this sauce. And yeah, I think I'm glad I pulled some of that out. I think it was going to be too much sauce. Looks pretty, huh? All right, I'll have to see how this goes, and maybe this will become a recipe. So a little bit of squash and a little bit of squash. Some Caesar salad. There's a chance I did too many croutons, but I think that's okay. They're my favorite. Chicken thigh. So at the end of a cruise today, spaghetti squash with tomato sauce, Caesar salad, and roasted chicken thigh. Thanks for being with us today. It was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed what it's like on a cruising day. Tomorrow we're starting at 5:30 in the morning, so I probably won't be taping that. Bye, everybody. Thank you.